Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. But if you are new here, this is the channel where I try to help you design better and be a better designer. My name is Stuart Kim. I am a business professional turned product designer, and on my spare time, I like to try to mentor and help other startup designers do the same. So in this video, y'all asked for it. It's about time. It's about time to update my video on the books that help me think and do design. I'll put the link to that video somewhere here, maybe down in the descriptions. I'm not sure, but it'll be around. You should check that out. But my book collection has expanded. Here it is. I'm really excited to share this with y'all. But this is not going to be a book report. If that's what you're looking for, this is not the video for you. These are real practical books for me. And I'm going to point out what about design I learned from it and how I apply it in my day-to-day work in hopes that it's going to help you. You know, the funny thing though is that growing up, I thought that I hated reading and I hated learning. All the way through high school, this is what I thought. But once I hit college, I realized that's actually not true. I was just learning and reading things that I did not care about. But when it comes to design, my pupils get big, I get super excited, and there's just so much to learn, and I just devour content. So yeah, so this is just a fraction of the new set of stuff that I have been looking into and using. So let's get into it. So first up is this book. Can you see that? Design is a Job by Mike Monterio. Don't let the color fool you. Don't let the plain cover fool you. This is a great book, or at least I think, and it's packed full of content, really good content. And I wanted to start with this book because it is a really great reality check, especially if you're starting out in design. Here's where I'm coming from. Designers get into design because we love making things. But being a practicing designer in a commercial setting, whether it be for your first client or within a business, it's not like being an artist. Thinking back to when I first started out in design and coupling it with a lot of the stuff I'm hearing from junior designers, their struggles as they are starting out in their career, it's this realization, that rude awakening that you actually can't create whatever you want to create and create it however you want to create it. And you're often not starting from scratch where you're going from 0 to 1, but you are usually inheriting an existing product and enhancing it little by little over time. This sounds so stupidly obvious, but in actuality, I'm not so sure about that, because when we learn it in a vacuum, and we're able to take a very linear process to our design work, and you could go from 0 to something, you could design a whole product, you could get it perfect, and that's your project. And that doesn't set your expectations up for really meeting reality, and it doesn't always work out that way. And look, this is normal. This is the way it is, and there's nothing actually wrong about it, in my opinion. But I know how it can feel. It can feel demoralizing. You may feel misunderstood. You may not feel valued. It may seem like your ideas are not being respected, or just people, just anyone other than designers just seem to just not get it. I started out saying that being a designer is not like being an artist, and what I meant by that is that you are never just creating for yourself. You are solving problems for other people, and that has been that way forever, and in the best way possible. Design is a job. And personally, I think it's a great job. But sometimes it just takes a little bit to kind of calibrate your expectations and also develop a sense of how to navigate it in this new context if this is kind of something you're struggling with. So that's why I love this book. I think this is a no-nonsense, straightforward, he doesn't mince his words kind of book where it lays out cold the fact that design is a job. But it also gives you a lot of tactics, examples, and stories that you can use to kind of navigate your design career and make design the best damn job for you. But a quick little disclaimer though, the primary audience for this book is actually freelancers. But I think it still is applicable to in-house designers like myself, and maybe you if you're an in-house designer. To give you an example, there are some chapters that probably don't apply if you're an in-house designer. Kind of let's see here, charging for your work, or choosing the right clients, or getting your money. However, but things like what is a designer, which it covers, sticking to your process, presenting design, and working with others, this is something that's applicable to everyone. I think you should check this book out. It really helped me. It kind of grounded me, gave me a good reality check. And I think overall, I'm just a little bit more content, a little bit more happier with the fact that I'm a designer. Let's keep going with this reality check theme, shall we? So this next book has a special place in my designer's heart, and it's this one right here. Inspired by Marty Kagan. This one is kind of a weird thing to recommend to other designers because it's actually a book for product managers written by a product manager, but I'll explain that in a little bit. Look, we've talked about how design is not art. You are solving other people's problems. You are not designing for yourself. But not only that, design is not a solo sport. You are collaborating with all sorts of people. Product managers, engineers, business stakeholders of all shapes and sizes, and you need everyone. You need a village of thinkers and doers to actually have a viable business and a product that is truly sustainable and impactful. So this book, Inspired, has been my go-to book for understanding practical ways to work with all sorts of people and innovate together in a contemporary, multidisciplinary product team, tech team, problem-solving team, that sort of stuff. I've given presentations based off this book. I've created product discovery programs and processes based off this book. I've used this book to help my team and the businesses that I've worked for make thoughtful product bets that are now off helping people and actually making money for the businesses. It has been such a catalyst for change for me and the places that I've worked, and just personally, professionally, it helped me level up as a designer. So I can't recommend this enough. So you're still probably wondering, why am I recommending this book? This book is for product managers. But look, hear me out. Since designers need to work well within a cross-functional, multidisciplinary team, it is extremely important that everyone has a shared understanding of what designers do and how designers can bring value to the team and the company. And I believe this book does just that. It does it extremely well. It has a whole section on product design. It defines it, goes through all the different types, and even talks about, different ways that product design can actually help build product and how other different roles should interface with design. It's one of the few that's written by a non-designer that I actually agree with, which is a lot to say. So the next book is this one right here, Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. I have the new and expanded edition. I don't know if you really need that. This is just one of those books that has one main point and maybe one main framework to offer, but it reinforces it by giving you a ton of examples and a ton of stories. So I actually didn't read this cover to cover. I stopped once I kind of got the joke, and then I kind of referenced the rest of it. But it's a solid book, and here's why. Trying to get your design decisions and your ideas and thoughts across to other people is not that easy because, one, there's confusion around what design is to begin with. Two, design decisions are sometimes really hard to measure and can be very intangible, just nuanced maybe. So that's a tall order for designers. And also designers aren't necessarily known for public speaking and stuff like that, right? We're known for making things and solving problems. Having this kind of book to kind of break it all out, like the different concepts and components of what a good idea that sticks looks like, is super helpful. So to get a little bit specific, let me just kind of read a few pieces here. So basically, it's saying that there's 6 principles of what makes an idea sticky. And it's simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, and there's a story behind it. And it kind of walks you through how you want to think about all these things, and then it gives you very tactical things and examples of how you could apply it. So I always kind of come back to this whenever I need to make a big presentation, or even just weekly design reviews or something amongst designers too, just to kind of get some practice. But yeah, super helpful. I highly recommend it. I think it's worth having this on your bookshelf, so check it out. So the next book is really a gem, and it's this one, Jobs to be Done by Anthony Ulwick. So this is a frameworks book, and what I mean by that is it's really a methods and strategy book for the theory with the same name, Jobs to be Done. And the theory is by the late Clay Christensen, who was a Harvard professor. He was a market and strategy consultant and an investor. It's really a game-changing idea And the frameworks book by Anthony is just as good, just as pivotal, super helpful, very practical. So let's start with the theory. There's many layers to it, so I won't go into like real detail about it. I don't think it's appropriate for this video. But in essence, let me just explain it this way. Product designers are supposed to design for the user's needs. But that's actually not that easy, because wants and needs are often confused by the user. And even if the users are self-aware enough to truly understand what they need, they may not be able to articulate it in the right way. And throw in the complexity of trying to do this within the context of a business, for a business, you need to have multiple people, a whole market segment with the same type of need so that you could build a viable and sustainable product, and then of course a business around it. And the idea is that when people buy a product, they're trying to hire it to do something. And if it does that thing sufficiently enough, then they buy it again. So as I'm saying this out loud to you, trying to explain it, man, I'm thinking, this must sound so stupidly obvious. But look, let me use an example to kind of demonstrate that this is actually a profound mind shift. So I'm going to use the example of the drill. So when people go to, I don't know, Home Depot to get a drill, they don't actually want that drill. What they really want, what they're hiring the drill to do, is to make a hole. And this is important if you think about it in a business context. You could build a company that makes drills, or you can make a company that helps people achieve and get that hole that they want. So it's different because the minute the customer realizes they could get that hole without buying the drill, the company that only makes drills are going to go out of business. Can you think of some examples? Kodak, BlackBerry, Blockbuster, Nokia. You kind of get my point. It's hard because once a company establishes themselves, it's really difficult to innovate if you haven't used the jobs to be done framework. Because then if you're that, drill making company, for you to innovate, you have to cannibalize your existing business. But if you thought about your company as, no, it doesn't matter what we make, we just want to help the consumers get the hole that they need, then it kind of opens up the world of possibilities. Now, can you see why this is such a game changer? And as a designer, you could really weaponize this. And this book gives you the framework, the strategies, the methods to do it. So check it out. All right, we're at the home stretch. The last two books I want to talk about as a pair because I think they are one. So look. So one is the Universal Principles of Design, and the other is the Universal Methods of Design. And I think y'all should pay attention to these two books because I don't know if there exists another encyclopedic type thing for product designers. And here's what I mean. Because UX design and product design is such an evolving space where things have changed so much even in the last several years, and the education pieces of it are trying to catch up, but is moving so fast that it hasn't been able to. And it's just really difficult to find quote unquote a textbook type thing for design. But I think these two books do a great job. So let me just give you a sneak peek. So let's open up this one first. The Universal Principles of Design. So I think the easiest way to think about this one, it's kind of like, it's called principles, but it's rules of aesthetic or laws of aesthetics, laws of beauty, guidelines, along with other general considerations, including understanding a little bit of human biases. And it's gonna have the real basic stuff for sure. But it also has a lot of other things that you and I probably don't use on a day-to-day basis, but it's good to know and good to have access to when you need it. So the real basic stuff, I mean the golden ratio, alignment, layering, confirmation biases, stuff like that. Even something so basic as consistency. But there's also cool other things. There's 262 things. And I'll just name a few that I don't even know, but I definitely am interested in. Stuff like flexibility, usability trade-off, 5-hat racks, Fitts law, other stuff. Interesting. Most average facial appearance effect. I don't know. That sounds interesting. Savannah preference, Visio-spatial resonance, Visio-spatial resonance, The von Restorff effect. Why can't I pronounce? Anyway, yeah, I think this is just a great resource to have. Let me just quickly go through the other one too. So universal methods of design for this one. As far as like design process goes, I think this is the go-to like encyclopedic book. So, I mean, it'll have like the basic stuff, like I mentioned before, same as the other one, kind of like affinity diagrams or what else is like task analysis, like journey maps, but it goes way beyond that. This one has 125 stuff. Civic design and policy. I don't deal with that on a day-to-day basis, but it's good to know. Flexible modeling. I'm not sure what that's all about. Alito method. Touchstone tours. Interesting. Love letter and breakup letter. That's interesting. Actually, I can imagine what that is, but I don't really know what it is. Cultural probes. So yeah, I keep these two books around. So there you have it. This is my latest set of books that help me think and do design. I was super excited to share this with you because this is truly a key part of my design arsenal. If you want to check out the previous video where I shared the books that help me think and do design when I first started out, I'll leave the link somewhere here. Yeah, but you can check that out. And hey, look, if you think this is going to help some other folks, please share the video, share that with them. And if you want to see more of this, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.